Hi, welcome to Thrash Heavy Rhythm, another video for you here. Please subscribe if you're on YouTube. Also check out, if you're on YouTube also, check out some links below. In rhythm guitar, particularly in heavy music, often talked about is picking technique and preferences. Every guitarist has their own way, particularly what feels natural to them. And I do hope in this video I could help you find your way. Horns up. If I just give you a few demonstrations here. Now, some people, quite a lot of people, particularly in thrash and other associated genres, the classic is downpicking. Very powerful. Now, but some people though, now of course not everyone does this where it sounds so good, but some people do the alternate picking, which is with a couple of downstrokes there. But basically that doesn't, there's not really any right or wrong, but as opposed to this. Now, normally there's a huge difference there, but there is a way where you can change things around by a lot more emphasis can be put on the actual technique. Now, some players, take Scott Ian from Anthrax, an SOD. Now, oftentimes he does favour the, but sometimes I've seen him do that, but he puts a lot of emphasis in the actual technique on the way down, on the way up. Some might hit all three strings, and then of course on the way back up they'll hit the one string. Now of course, as popular as downpicking really is, and as good as it sounds, but sometimes it's not always practical. It's like, for instance, if the riff is slightly higher in tempo, now even though there are some people out there that really can pull it off and still continue. Now there are some exceptions where when the tempo increases, some people can still pull it off, and they really do work on their downpicking, really building up, because it does take an awful lot of strength in the forearm, it really does. But now for myself, I tend to do it both ways. Now usually when there's a certain tempo, I'm any faster than that, and I prefer to actually do up down, but I like to give it a bit more of an accent, a bit more because if I just go, and of course it depends on how technical the riff actually is too, because sometimes there's an awful lot going on in between the picking, like a lot of chords. So sometimes it makes it a little bit difficult. But for the most part, if there is a long palm muted bit and the tempo's starting to and the tempo's increasing a little bit more, then and particularly when you've got single notes. Now, of course, if I just see if I can find more of a 16th note, that's more of a 3-note per string thing. That's better. if I do it slowly, or slower, I can certainly emphasize more down picking. But when the tempo increases, so ordinary down picking, the most favoured, but alternate with more of an emphasis on. And of course there's both ways of doing it, and sometimes both the ways can actually happen in the same riff. It's like, for instance, if I do a riff like I just did and go, oh, sorry, no. And of course that can actually provide a bit of colour, you know, and what have you. And also, sometimes even a riff like that can be quite difficult if I was doing it all down picking at such a high tempo. You see, for me personally, I start to lose it a little bit, as you can probably notice there. But there are, like I say, there are exceptions where some people are very good at down picking, and where they can down pick the entire lot of what I just played there at quite a high tempo. But of course, in order to be able to, if you really wish to be able to down pick like that, you've really got to work on it, and really get it down to a T, and make sure, for safety's sake, don't get an injury. So make sure you, so make sure you warm up. You got to take care of yourself and don't go getting injuries, because it could be detrimental to your musical career. But anyway, that's all about the picking technique there. And so down picking or alternate picking, this is mostly when it comes to chugging. So I'm not talking about, or that is a completely different technique for another video.